I know Will Smith said it. He said,
Yeah, you have to actually seek failure. Failure is where all of the lessons are.
welcome back to another presentation, y'all. I'm glad that you're here. We're continuing this series on failure. And if you haven't seen the first part of this series on failure, I will put it in the description below. But let's get into it. We're picking up on page 5 of this presentation. No more excuses. The question isn't really about removing failure. It's about removing excuses. When you say I can't fail, you're really saying I have no more excuses. Because you have to decide in your mind that you're not going to fail, because you're not going to quit.
It stands for like not quitting, accepting the ups and downs of whatever game you commit yourself to and riding it out, you feel me? Because, you know, that's the reality of, you know, success or greatness, that it come with a roller coaster ride.
If you keep going at something, if you keep trying it and you keep improving, I think that's definitely a caveat, is keeping improving. You have to keep on doing it and you have to keep learning from the failure. Failure equals lessons. I just saw that somewhere. I can't remember where it was. It might have been from another YouTuber. I know Will Smith said it. He said,
you have to get comfortable with failure. You have to actually seek failure. Failure is where all of the lessons are.
You have to extract the lessons from failure. And that is so true, because without going out there and trying something, whether you're trying to approach somebody you like, whether it's you trying to get a job, whether it's you trying to go to the gym, whether it's you trying to get in shape or a new diet, whatever the case may be, you have to go out there and you have to figure out what works for you and what doesn't work for you. And sometimes that means you're going to fail. Okay. If you want to go try out for a basketball team if you're a kid, or, you know, you want to go learn a new sport, whatever the case may be, you have to know that there's going to be some failure associated with that. Sometimes some of us, we just born talented and lucky and we just hit the ground running. And hey, shout out to anybody like that. That's never how it's been for me, but for most people, you're gonna have to fail. When you take failure off the table, something interesting happens. So you run out of excuses. Now it's just you standing there with nothing holding you back but yourself. So once you take the excuses away, then you're not going to hold yourself back. Okay, moving forward. Worth failing for. If something's worth doing, it's worth doing badly at first. Worth failing that. Worth looking stupid for. Okay, now this just goes back to the last slide where I was saying you're going to fail and the lessons are in failure. So if something's worth doing, it's worth doing it badly at first. You're going to be bad at some of this stuff, and that could be associated with failure, but it could just be also associated with lessons, extracting those lessons. When you're bad at something, you get to improve on it if you don't quit. So failure and not quitting is the recipe for success.
No, I just didn't quit. That's the only distinguishing quality from me and probably whoever else going through this or went through this or is gonna go through this, is that I ain't quit.
When you fail, you learn, you don't quit. You're going to keep going. You're going to keep on improving, okay? Be able to not care about what other people's going to say or think, because you're going to look stupid. I'm just going to keep it a buck with y'all. Y'all going to look dumb doing some stuff you don't know how to do. You're going to be learning, and it's going to be embarrassing. It may feel that way. You're going to go through every emotion.
I went through every emotion. I went through every emotion with trying to pursue what I'm doing. You know what I mean? And I think that what going to separate whoever's going to try to go for something is that you ain't gonna quit, unless you know you're gonna really take the stance if I'm gonna die behind what I'm getting at right now.
The things that matter most in life are worth looking stupid for. That's just what it is. The things that are worth most in life, or that matter most in life, is worth looking stupid for. So go out there and go dumb. You know what I'm saying? Go dumb with it then.
Go stupid. Go dumb. Go stupid. Go dumb.
You know, you gotta get. You might have to go down with it. All right. Think about it. Everything great you've ever done started with being terrible at it. Okay, man. I used to be terrible at bowling, and I ain't bowled in a while, and so I might be terrible again. But I remember when I was first bowling, I didn't know how to bowl, y'all. I was not that good. And then somebody taught me how to put that curve on it. You know what I'm saying? They said answer the phone. hello. And once I learned how to answer that phone, man, I started throwing that curve on that lane. I can throw a curve, left or right with my right hand. So, but I was throwing gutters, you know what I'm saying? I was curving it right into the gutter a lot of the times, but it was worth it because I got better. And like I said, everything great you ever done started with being terrible at it. And that's just the name of the game, y'all. You have to be bad so you can be good. You have to know what not to do so you can know what to do. Okay. Moving on to the next slide, the baby step principle. Think about learning to walk as a baby. Did you worry about looking stupid? No, you just kept getting up, falling down, getting up again. Man, this resonates with me a lot because as a child, we have these childlike qualities, this innocence, this naiveness, and we have this just like we can do anything. We don't have an understanding of limitations. Our imagination is running rampant. It's just fiery. It's just so broad and vast. Our imagination is just everything. And as we get older, our imagination gets stifled, yeah. And it starts to limit us. We start to get limitations on ourselves that we put on ourselves or that we learn from society or parents or other influences, our peers. And it really just makes us care about what other people think. It makes us care about looking stupid. And we have to get out of that. We have to be childlike again, y'all. That's something that I've worked on myself, tapping into your inner child and just being childlike and playful and doing it for fun. You know what I'm saying? Just not really worried about falling, because you're going to get up and you're just going to keep going because you don't know no better. You have that innocence. You have that naiveness. And sometimes that naiveness is good because you're not worried about all these external factors that go into how you're being perceived. Nobody criticizes a baby for falling while learning to walk. That's because failing or falling isn't failure, y'all. Falling isn't failure. It's a part of the process. When did we forget that? When did we forget that, y'all? When did we forget that falling is just a part of the process? Somewhere in life, we just have this vast imagination, like I said, and then boom, one day we're just so worried about what other people are thinking. We start worrying about other people's perceptions, how we perceive ourselves, and we're trying to present. We put on these masks, we start going through all these things, and we have to get rid of all those external things and all those, shells of ourselves, if you will, and just try to understand who we are and be that person naturally. Okay. Now the next slide, we're going to talk about success through failure. The people who succeed aren't the ones who never fail. They're the ones who aren't afraid to fail. The people who succeed aren't the ones who never fail. They're the ones who aren't afraid to fail. So again, this is going back to that fear of failure. The most successful people aren't the ones who never fail. They're the ones who fail the most. All right. They fail fast and they keep going. Every L is just a lesson you look at. It's just a lesson you look at it, right? So these L's we take an L, know that the L is for lesson. Sometimes you win, sometimes you learn. All right. That's probably one of my favorite quotes, because normally we say sometimes you win, sometimes you lose. But I like to say sometimes you win, sometimes you learn. Every L is just a lesson if you look at it right, okay? If you look at it right, then that L is going to be a lesson and you'll be able to extract from the failure. So just understand these things about failure and fear, and not having the fear of failure so you can succeed, and not being worried about what other people care or think. Just like a baby. Baby doesn't care if it falls and gets up. It just keeps going. So be childlike, be naive in that way where you don't understand the perception of others, and be playful in that way to where you can understand that you're trying something new and it can be fun, and it doesn't have to be so rigid. Obviously, discipline and structure is important, especially as an adult, but having that childlike innocence is very important to not being afraid to fail. Okay. So I hope y'all enjoyed this presentation. I'll be back with the last 4 slides of this presentation. And I just hope y'all enjoyed this. All right. Peace to all the rebels.
I love this one. Fail early, fail often, fail forward. It's always a little bit frustrating to me when people have a negative relationship with failure. Failure is a massive part of being able to be successful. You have to get comfortable with failure. You have to actually seek failure. Failure is where all of the lessons are. When you go to the gym and you work out, you're actually seeking failure. You want to take your muscles to the point where you get to failure, because that's where the adaptation is. That's where growth is. Successful people fail a lot. They fail a whole lot more than they succeed, but they extract the lessons from the failure, and they use that the energy, and they use the wisdom to come around to the next phase of success. You gotta take a shot. You have to live at the edge of your capabilities. You gotta live where you're almost certain you're gonna fail. That's the reason for practice. Practice is controlled failure. You're getting to your limit, getting to your limit, getting to your limit. You can't lift that, you can't do that, until you get to the point that all of a sudden your body makes the adjustment, and then you can do it. Failure actually helps you to recognize the areas where you need to evolve. So fail early, fail often, fail forward.